What's going on, guys? Welcome to Steve Does Stuff. I'm Steve, and today we're going to be doing a transmission fluid change and a filter change on a 6L50E. So I actually tried this once before, and I made the huge mistake of, well, first of all, I didn't know I had to take the Y pipe off. You definitely have to take the Y pipe off before you do anything the night before. Soak all the Y pipe nuts in penetrating oil, WD-40, whatever you want, just to try and get them loose, because if you don't...
I rounded the living shit out of it.
We're going power tools.
Talk about a struggle.
Bad things will happen, really bad things. So do that first. 6L50E transmissions are found on the first 2 years of Canyon Colorado's 2015 and 16, and it's about time that I should change it. Let's get this guy up in the air and as level as possible.
Now that the truck is actually up in the air, you can see the bolts that we're trying to get at. So this is the driver's side, and this one in particular, you can't get a impact socket on it. This can turn into an absolute nightmare. Taking off this Y pipe is gonna be your first step, because if you can't get that off, you're not doing anything else. Right here is the one that took me 3 days to get off beforehand. So right now we are already ahead of schedule. So at the very back of the trans, there is this bracket that holds on the exhaust. There's two 15mm bolts that go in there. Take that off, and then we should be able to pull this pipe out of the way, because you will not be able to drop the pan. There's just not enough room to clear all this stuff. This guy will slide off at the end. We just move it right out of the way. You can see these are already starting to separate on both sides, which is awesome. But now we gotta take the fluid out of the pan, because this thing is still totally full. There's a plug up there that we're gonna pull, and I'm gonna suck all this fluid out. Success! If you don't have one of these, they are unbelievably helpful. It just creates a vacuum. You stick the tube in wherever you want it to suck some stuff out, and it's just as easy as that. Bring our little extractor, place it into where we took the plug out of the trans. I want to go till I hit the bottom of the pan. Okay, we're in. I probably should have warmed this up. Fluid looks like it's pretty cold. Yeah, it's not really the quickest process when it's cold. Okay, we got a full boy. It's a little less than what I took out in the first time. We're about 5.5, but I think that just means that there would still be some left in the pan. So now it's time to get under there and get all those pan bolts off. There are 17 10mm bolts that hold this pan on. We're gonna go ahead and take those off. Probably not the best spot for this. Ta-da! Put the pan under it, catch any drips here. Oh boy. Here's the valve body. It's pretty alarming that that's out. So first look at the pan. It is honestly looking a lot better than I thought. There's not really any chunks floating around in there. There's nothing really up against the side. I touched the magnet. You can see there's definitely some material on the magnet, but that's its job. So I'm gonna spray this guy down with brake cleaner
The gasket is reusable, so I'm more or less just going to wipe that down and then put it back on, and then we can pull the filter out. There is a decent amount of stuff on there, especially on the back. Not too bad though, no big chunks, just super fine. And after 180K, I don't think that's so bad. So filter is going to be up next. I've heard that quite a lot of fluid comes out of there, so I'm going to bring down the replacement with me just to throw it back up in there. I've also heard that this washer, I don't know, seal thing goes up into the transmission, that it's almost impossible to get out without a slide hammer. So I am not going to be replacing this. I'm just going to kind of pull this down and up with the new one. Alright, this is going to be a bit of a messy procedure, especially with all this puking fluid on me. But apparently this thing just like that apparently. Oh yeah, there's a lot of fluid in this thing. Okay, let's put you back in your hole. Looks good to me. Ooh, my gasket's trying to escape. Come on, get down in there. So this is the filter and all of the fluid that came out of it in the bottom. Looks identical, which is great. They look the same. So now that this guy's out, we gotta go put all 17 of those pan bolts back on. Apparently they're very easy to strip, so we're just gonna do it pretty lightly. Put the exhaust back together and then start to fill this thing up with fluid. Fill 4000 runs up and into the trans. Get the rear plug pulled out of this, which is important for when it gets up to temperature, but I'm gonna do it just to figure out where I'm at and then run it up to temp. So we're gonna put as much into this we need until it starts puking out the back. So this has just started to leak out of here. I'm gonna pull this out, plug it. Time to start the truck back up. The temperature for checking this is supposed to be between, I think 30 and 50 degrees. So we're gonna bring it to 40 and then crack that drain plug and see what happens. Okay, we're about 37 degrees now after idling the truck for a little while. A couple brake torques definitely helped it. So go pull the plug out of the bottom of the pan and see where the fluid's at. When you do pull the plug out of the bottom, you're going to want to make sure that it is only kind of dripping out slowly, and then you can throw the plug back in. So let's see. Alright, so there's a lot of fluid in there. Alright, so now the transmission has kind of leveled off to the proper fluid. I'm gonna wait for the exhaust to cool down, put this guy back in. Hope this helps some Colorado Canyon owners with some 6L50Es. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.